we are on the eve of football season, which means let's talk basketball, because that's coming up right after it. And Coach Cal's got another class that looks pretty stellar on paper coming in, Jack. But this year there are some guys returning. We do have a couple of sophomore guards. Nick Richards and E.J. Montgomery have both seen some time in the lineup. But taking a look at this roster, what's kind of the makeup of the team in your eyes?
Well, one thing for sure is at this time of the year, trying to evaluate a roster is very difficult, especially since practice hadn't even started. But I do have two questions right off the bat. Number one, can Montgomery and Nick Richards play together at the same time? If they can, that's going to be good. Maybe a bigger question is whether or not Ashton Hagans, come the end of the year, is in the discussion as the best point guard in the country. If he is there, it really won't matter what else is happening with the basketball team, because we're going to be playing some good basketball at that time. And
Cal has said that he's taken, some leaps and bounds over the summer, right? And he's put on some muscle. Right. We all know what he can do defensively, because he showed that last year. Maybe not as consistently as you want, but at times you couldn't get past him. Offensively, I hope he's, that's where I'd like to see some improvement for him.
Well, what freshman does not hit the wall at some point during the course of that freshman season? So what he went through, above everything else, is a learning experience. Now he knows how to pace himself. Now he knows how to look at a 5-game stretch as opposed to a 10-game stretch and try to figure out how am I going to get through these 10 games. Sometimes you might have to look at 2 games. So I think Hagan's going to be a lot better in that regard. He's gotten stronger. Shooting has always been a question, and really it's not a question of whether or not he can shoot. It's whether or not he will shoot. So if that's the issue, I don't know many guys who the coach says, I need you shooting the basketball, is not going to put up more shots.
So if Ashton Hagans could at some point potentially be in that conversation as the best point guard in America, where does Tyrese Maxey fit in? Because he's this freshman stud, very hyped up, that could run the team as well.
Well, I hope what that means for Maxey is that he says to Hagans, hey man, I'm going to hold on to your shirt tail. Because you are my leader, and I'm leaving it up to you to make me better. See, because a good point guard understands if I'm making everyone else look better and everyone else play up to their full potential, that is what being a good point guard is all about. I don't get too concerned that he passes up shots at times, because that's going to go away. But if I'm one of those other guys, and if Ashton Hagans is having that kind of season, I'm going to be happy. I mean, if I'm E.J. Montgomery, I'm going to be happy because I know I'm spotting up on the wing and I'm getting it. If I'm Nick Richards, I'm getting the alley-oop and I'm blocking shots and I'm getting rewarded on the offensive end. If I'm some of these freshmen, really good freshmen, by the way, who are coming in, Brooks is another one, they're going to excel because your point guard is your leader. And that's what it's all about. And what about Quickly?
Yeah.
I mean, Quickly showed that he can play. He showed that he can shoot the basketball.
Yeah, he was really coming
If Calipari wants to go small and play 3 guards, Quickly comes into the act with those 2 guys, and that's going to be a fun team to watch if the 3 of them on the floor at the same time.
And that may be determined by what you said at the beginning. If EJ and Nick can play together. If they can't, they might have to go small.
Exactly.
I do want to talk about a couple of the freshmen. You mentioned Keon Brooks, Johnny Juzang, Khalil Whitney. They're all similar guys. They're all 6'6", 6'7", wing players. The dribble drive seems to be something that they would excel in.
And I'd like to see Coach Calipari go back to that, just simply because it gives you an opportunity to take advantage of some of these young athletes you're talking about. Shooting is still a question, and it always is with freshmen. Juzang can shoot the basketball. Some of the others, still a question mark. But, if you're dribbling and if you're getting to the basket, you're forcing the defense to help and you kick out. Those are the shots that are going to have to be going. If I am one of the other teams playing against Kentucky, especially early in the season, I'm leaving you open on the wing. If you prove to me you can make shots, then I'll make adjustments from there. But they're going to have to prove early that they can make shots.
Now, if we're talking about hype factor, I feel like because Reed Travis was a graduate transfer and came in last year and did what he did, that Nate Sestina has garnered a little hype because of that. With no outread Travis, I don't know that Nate Sestina is even here, let alone being talked about as much. Do you think he will be a factor?
I hope he continues to be the last guy anybody talks about. If he continues to be that guy, he's going to have a great season because no one's going to expect him to do a whole lot. But his experience, the fact that at 6'9", 6'10", he can step out and shoot the basketball, spread the floor, is going to be such a big factor for this team. It's going to open up the paint. It's going to allow some of those athletes you're talking about off the dribble drive to get to the hole. And he is a guy who can make jump shots. And that's going to be fun to see at that position.
Man, I wish you knew something about basketball.
Well,
That would have
I'm
made
trying
this,
to learn.
That would have made this
still
so
trying
much
to
more
learn.
interesting.